Good day, ladies and gents. Today we're going to be continuing Unit 6 Similarity, and we are going to be doing heartbeat and boomerang. So very important that you have your calculator, so make sure that's going on. Now, this is really going to be quick, but before we start, I need to remind you that we are going to be doing radicals, and how to do that would be a nice reminder right here. So on the right side of page 1, under heartbeat and boomerang, so you would have the list of all of your squares. So 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, and so on and so forth. So for instance, if you have square root of 180, so you want to know what square, so these are the numbers you want to take out. So what square can you take out? So I get that you can probably take out a 6, but a 6 is not on this list. So we want to take out 9. 9 is a good square you can take out. So if you take out square root of 9, so 180 divided by 9, you're left with 20, right? Okay, so square root of 9 times square root of 20 is square root of 180. Okay, now can you take anything else out? Square root of 9 is done. Square root of 20, you can take out more. You can take out a 4. So that's really 4 times 5. All right, so 9 times 4 times 5 will go right back to 180. Okay, what's the square root of 9? 3. What's the square root of 4? 2, and the square root of 5, it's as far as it goes. So if you multiply all the whole numbers back together, then you would have 30, and then you still are stuck with the square root of 5 right there. So just a reminder of how to do the squares, so how to simplify radicals. Okay, over here, we have heartbeat and boomerang. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. But this is a reminder of how to do it. Okay, so for heartbeat and boomerang, so what we're basically doing, well, we'll get to that in a second, but let's go ahead and do the radicals. So let's do the radicals, just a reminder here. Okay, so using the list of squares, so we're going to keep page 1 next to us at all times. You put that away, you're just trying to do stuff cold turkey. So make sure you have this next to you the whole time. Now, what can you take out of square root of 45? So 100, no. Let's see, 16. If you divide by 16, so 45 divided by 16, nope, that's a decimal, so you can't take out a 16. What about 9? So 45 divided by 9, ooh, you get that pretty number 5. So 5 just happens to be 5 in the front. Okay, so if we take out 9, so 9 times what was 45? When you take out a 9, you're left with a 5. So square root of 9 times square root of 5 is still square root of 45. And notice I put the square in the front, right? Okay, and 5, we can't take anything else out. So we're left with 5. What's the square root of 9? The number 3. And we're still left with the square root of 5. Now, can you make it pretty? 5 times 3 is 15, square root of 5. And that's your answer, right there. All right, let's try again. Okay, 2 times square root of 180. Okay, so what can we take out of 180? Now, 180, I know you can take out a 10, but 10 is not on this list. So you want to try these numbers. 9, I know I can definitely take out a 9. So 180 divided by 9. Yes, I get 20. So 2 times 9 times square root of 20. So I'm using numbers I know I can handle. Okay, so 9's done. How about, 20? Can you take anything else out? Yeah, I can definitely take out 4. So 2 square root of 9, square root of 4. What's left over? 20 divided by 4 is 5. So square root of 5. And if I multiply all those together back again, the square root of 9 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 5, I go right back to 180. So all those radicals multiply back together, we'll go right back to 180. All right, I'll zoom in. Okay, so with that, so we're left with 2. Square root of 9 is the number 3. Square root of 4 is the number 2. And square root of 5, we're stuck with 2 times 3 times 2 is 12 square root of 5. All right, so you got to get real comfortable with that. Okay, now let's get on to heartbeat and boomerang. Now, this is geometric mean, altitude. So there's a bunch of different names for this, but we like to call it heartbeat and boomerang. What they're saying is you're comparing like triangles. That's what's going on right here. So basically what it's saying is that there is 3 triangles here. There's the big triangle. So that big right triangle, see where the right angle is right there? So that we have the big one where the 90-degree angle is at C. We have this the middle one where the 90-degree angle is at D, and we have the little triangle where the right angle is at D but pointing in the other direction. Okay, so all 3 of these triangles are similar. So that's what we're doing. And the best way to look at this is just heartbeat and boomerang. So instead of trying to figure out which side is the short side and which side is the long side and try to match those up, the best way to do that is heartbeat and boomerang. Okay, so this is what's going on. Okay, heartbeat. If the center line is labeled, so if the center line is labeled, not is it X, it's just labeled. If it's labeled at all, you're going to be using heartbeat because your heartbeat is inside. So if the center line is labeled, we're going to be using heartbeat. If the center line is not labeled, you're going to be using boomerang. Okay, so basically what we're saying is heartbeat. So, when you're at the heart monitor, so that's what's going on. So it'd be A over X equals X over B. Or you go backwards, B over X equals X over A. That's how you set those up. Okay, and then the other thing that could happen is boomerang. Now, here's the important part. So the center line is not labeled at all. What's going to happen is that we're going to always do the big hypotenuse first. It's very important. Big hypotenuse first. So the biggest side. So instead of so it's going to be all of A and B over, and then are we going to the right or going to the left? We're going to go to the left because this. It just depends on what's labeled. So if all of this and then this side, so AB over AC, and then you backtrack, but you don't make it all the way home. So all of this over all of this equals backtrack AC over AD. AC over AD. So you do all of this over all of this, and then you backtrack, but you don't make it all the way home. Or you could go in this direction, depending on what's labeled. So it's all of AB over BC, and then you backtrack BC over BD, but you don't make it all the way home. Okay, so this is all you're going to be doing. These right here, heartbeat and boomerang. Really easy to do once you know what you're doing. All right, let's give it a try. Okay, so the first thing you have to decide is, are we going to use heartbeat or boomerang? Heartbeat or boomerang. And that decision's made is the middle line labeled yes or no? So that's how we're going to decide if we're going to use heartbeat or boomerang. So this one, what do you think you're going to use? Heartbeat or boomerang? Heartbeat, because the middle line is labeled. So we're going to use heartbeat. Okay, what about this one? What do you think you're going to use? Heartbeat or boomerang? Heartbeat, because the middle line is labeled. This one, what do you think you're going to use? Heartbeat or boomerang? Boomerang, because the middle line is not labeled. Everything's just on the outside. So this will be boomerang. And this one, what do you think you're going to label? Heartbeat or boomerang? Boomerang, because the middle line is not labeled. We're all on the outside. Boomerang. Excellent. All right, so on this one, heartbeat. So heartbeat is just like a heart monitor. So if you turn it sideways, you'll be able to see it better. It would be this over this equals that over that. Boom, boom, boom. Right? Okay, so it doesn't matter which direction you go. So if I do, so it would be this distance right here, 5 over 10 equals 10 over x. So this over this equals this over this. Notice that these two are the same. Just point that out, and then that'll keep happening. Okay, now we're in familiar territory, just cross product. So, so the equal sign stays in the middle. These two go together. So that's 5 times x, and these two go together. That'll be 10 times 10. And you just keep making it pretty. 5 times x is 5x. 10 times 10 is 100. Divide 5 on both sides. And you get x is equal to, so 100 divided by 5, we get 20. And that's as pretty as it gets, because that's all they wanted. They wanted x. And if you plug it back in the picture, yep, that looks legit. So 20. 20 is your answer. All right, cool. All right, get to the next problem. Okay, so on number two. So we decide we're going to use heartbeat. So heartbeat is this over this equals this over this. Or vice versa. This over this equals that over that. Now here's the problem here. See this little distance? I don't know what that is. Now if you look at your hot topics, I give you an example of what that would be. So this plus this equals a whole shebang. Remember all that stuff? So just pointing stuff out for you. If we had all of this and we're looking for this, or we're looking at this little part right here. So we have all this and we have this. How do we find this middle? You would subtract the two numbers to get the missing, right? Okay, so if I have all of 100 and I have this 36, how do I find this missing part, right? So I know that I'll say dot, because x has already been used. So dot plus 36 equals 100. So this plus this equals a whole shebang, right? So 100 minus 36, that little dot would equal 64. So this missing part right here would be 64. It's a little bubble thought, a little sub problem. Okay, so now we can answer the question. This over this equals this over this. So 64 over x equals x over 36. So notice before x was not the middle. This time x is the middle. Okay, cross product. These two go together, so 64 times 36 equals these two go together, x times x. Always take the time to actually write this out. If you skip it, there's a big chance you're going to mess up. 64 times 36, we get 2304 equals x times x is just x squared. How do we get x by itself? We would square root both sides. So I'll write this over again. Square root both sides. That way we know every single step we do. Okay, now we have to simplify that. Okay, so what can we take out of 2304? Okay, so we have our list of radicals of our squares. So here are our list of squares right there. All right, so let's see. So I'm going to take 2304 in my calculator, and I'm going to divide by, well, let's see, it's even number. I'm going to try 4. Oh, look, 4 works. So, 2304, I can take out a 4, and I'm left with 576. All right, let's try again. Let's see if I can divide by 4 again. Yeah, I can. So I have 4, and then I can take out another 4, and that's square root of 144. Wait a minute. Before I even start this, I should have started to see if it was even a pretty square root in the first place before I start simplifying. Let's see. The square root of 2304. Wouldn't it be awesome if this was a pretty square root? It is. It's just the number 48. So we didn't even have to mess with this at all. It's already a pretty number. which I was realizing because I was like 2, 2, and 1, 4, 4 is on this list. Well, it's a square root of 12. But I didn't even have to do that because if I just did the square root off the bat, it would just be 48. So this is just 48 equals x. And that's our answer. So 48 goes right here. So 48 is the answer. Isn't that wonderful? Awesome. Okay, let's move on to number 3. So we're almost done. So 2 more problems. Okay, so we're going to use heartbeat or boomerang. The middle line is not labeled, so we're going to use a boomerang. And in the rules for boomerang, I told you to always do the big hypotenuse first. So all of this. And then I want to do the side. Am I doing the left side, or I guess top, or am I going to do the right side? The right side. So I'm going to do this. And then you backtrack, but you don't make it all the way home. All right, so this, so what's the entire distance? That's 12 and 2, so that'd be 14. So 12 plus 2, which is equal to 14, right? All right, so we have 14 over x equals, now backtrack, x over, but you don't make it all the way home, so it's just a 2. Okay, equal sign stays in the middle, and we cross product. So these two go together, 14 times 2, and these two go together, which is x times x. So we have 28 equals x squared. Okay, and we're going to square both sides, right? So square both sides. Now let's see, is the square root of 28 a pretty number? No, it's a decimal, so we're going to have to simplify that. We're going to have to simplify that. So we need to figure out what can we take out of square root of 28. So square root of 28, let's see, so looking at our list of squares, let's see if I can take out the number 4. So 28 divided by 4, boom, I got 7. So that's really square root of 4 times the leftover 7. 4 times 7 is still 28. And that's as far as I can go. What's the square root of 4? 2. And we're stuck with the square root of 7. So square root of 28 is really 2 square root of 7 equals x. And that's all I wanted. So 2 square root of 7 is our answer. Last problem. Okay, so our last problem here. So heartbeat or boomerang. We're going to be using boomerang because the middle line's not labeled. We do the big hypotenuse first. So all of this over, so we have to do one of the sides of the big triangle. Are we doing the bottom or are we doing the right? We have to do the right because that's the thing that's labeled. So this. So it'd be 81 over x. And now backtrack, but you don't make it all the way home. So that would be x over 45. All right, so cross product. So these two go together. 81 times 45 equals these two go together. X times x. 81 times 45, we get 3645 equals x squared. And we're going to square both sides. Okay, so you see how this is kind of a big number? If you're not sure how to do this, look at the previous numbers and like what could you have taken out of that, and that might help you out a little bit. Okay, so 81 is definitely a square. 81 was a square. I know I can definitely take out 81 because that was one of my numbers, and that is a square. So let's see. So square root of 3645. Square root of 81, and I'll be left with the square root of 45. Okay, because that's a square. All right, 45. What can we take out of 45? I can take out a 9. So square root of 81 is still there. I can take out square root of 9, and you'd be left with 5. 9 times 5 is 45. Okay, and that's as far as I can go. 5 can't break down anymore. What's the square root of 81? 9. What's the square root of 9? 3. And I'm left with the square root of 5. So 9 times 3 is 27. Square root of 5. There's a little bubble thought right there. So this square root of 3645 is really 27 square root of 5. And that's our answer. 27 square root of 5. Okay, so that's how we're going to be doing our problems. So it's your job to finish these, and have a great and wonderful day.